Welcome to the third Mage Knight campaign installment. It's the Black Powder Rebels versus the Shyft. As it is a bigger battle, we'll be running a 2,500 point, one-page rules Age of Fantasy. So before the battle, the mountain city of Aerith has always been a place of peace. Situated between the Rivenhelm Mountains and Stonekeep, it has enjoyed the protection of Prince Galaban of the Knights Immortal to the north, a stable peace with the Dwarven Lord Ulgrim Dragonbrand of Stonekeep has guarded its south. Although conflicts rage throughout the world, Aerith has escaped much of it, until now. Communications with the city suddenly stopped. Amazonian scouts reported smoke coming from the city. Ulgrim asked his longtime friend, Amazon Queen Theoline, to investigate with a detachment of his own soldiers. She quickly set off to learn Aerith's fate. As they drew near the city, signs of a vicious attack were seen everywhere. Burned buildings and dead elves covered the landscape. Mage spawn were the culprits. Never had they seen so many mage spawn creatures among the dead. A ray of hope appeared as the forward scouts spotted elven figures in the distance. They were alive. Hope turned to dread as they got closer. The elves were merely husks. Upon seeing them, the elven thralls let out a piercing alarm screech. All around the detachment, mage spawn began to gather. 3 Shyft reptilian figures stepped out. More meat for you, my children. Theoline quickly formed her ranks to fight for their lives. This is a 2,500 points Age of Fantasy battle. There are 2 ways to win: control the majority of 4 objectives at the end of 4 turns, or to kill all the opponent's leaders. For the Black Powder Rebels, it is a Dwarven champion who is in a steam power suit. He has Grudge and dual hand weapons. Theoline is running as a Glade champion who has the Forest Warden Protector, a dual hand weapon herself. There's 3 10-man units of Dwarf Warriors, all with hand weapons, 2 units of Bearded Veterans with great weapons, a unit of Hammerer Elites with a Sergeant. Theoline is being led by War Dancers, which are Amazon Blade Mistresses, running with dual hand weapons. There's a set of 3 Golems and 2 sets of 6 steam-powered suits who are running as Steam Golems, switched out with heavy shields and great weapons. A unit of Dwarf Marksmen, a unit of Drake Marksmen, which will be running as Black Powder Boomers, and a 3-man unit of Dwarf Bear Riders. For the Shyft, they'll be running as Sea Elves. It's a Sea Master. One of the Shyft champions is a Sea Master who is on a Sea Worm with a Toxic Jaw. He has the Lantern of Souls ability. There's 2 additional Scholars who are running as a Wizard, and they are just armed with hand weapons. There is 2 units of Sea Elf Thralls who are running great weapons. There's 2 units of Sea Elf Reavers who are running with crossbows with rending, and they have the quick shot ability. Everyone has the Strider ability. There's a 6-man unit of Depth Horrors who are running dual hand weapons. They have Constrict. Another 3-man unit of Depth Horrors who are running with the also Constrict, and a Sergeant Musician and Standard Bearer. There's a 6-man unit of Sea Worm Riders who have Lances and Toxic Jaws. A giant War Turtle who's running as a Sea Beast with a Harpoon Launcher and the Distortion Drummer, giving units stealth within 12 inches. And finally, there is 2 great Harpoon Launchers who are running as Tribows. For the Dwarfs, we have the 3 sets of Dwarf Warriors to the right as Dwarf Berserkers. We then have 2 10-man squads of Bearded Veterans who are running as the Dwarven Pikemen towards the top right. We have Dwarven Axe Knights running as the Dwarven Hammerers. We have Theoline running as an Amazon Queen, and we have a Wraith Golem running as the other Dwarf Lord. We have some smaller Steam Power suits who are the War Golems, and then we have the Steam Golems running as the two steel, I think, from the Dwarves. On the other side, we have a 3-man squad of mechanized Dwarf Cavalry who are running as the Bear Riders. We've got a unit of Dwarven Fusers who are running as the Marksmen. We've got a 10-man unit of Amazon Blade Mistresses, which are the War Dancers. We have 5 Black Powder Boomers, which are running as the Drake Marksmen, and we have the other 6-man squad of Steam Power Suits as the Steel Golems. For the Shyft, we've got the Shyft Mages, which are running there as the champions. We've got a 6-man squad of Elf Thralls running to the bottom. We've also got, towards the left, we've got another 6-man unit of Elf Thralls, which represent the elves being mutated further to Mage Spawn. We've got the 6-man unit at the top of the Worm Riders. To the right, we've got the other 6-man squad of Lizardmen, and then we've got the 3-man squad of Depth Horrors as well, representing our Depth Horrors. To the top right, we've got our 2 Tribos, which are running as our artillery. And towards the center, we have the Sky Dragon, which is running as the War Turtle. Towards the right, we've got the Mounted Shyft, who'll be running with the Cavalry. We've got the other Shyft Mage running on the bottom right. We then have our 2 10-man squad of Elven Falconers and Noble Archers who are running as Reavers. And that's just the center again with the Depth Horrors, the War Turtle, and the Tribos in the center. For the setup. In the setup, we have representing for the destroyed Elven town of Aerith. We've got the center here, we're up the town. We then have some hills towards the north and forests spread out on the north and the south. That's the other picture of the destroyed city of Aerith. And towards the right is the mountainous region where Aerith is situated towards, along with a forest region that are protected by the Amazons. The first 2 objectives are going to be in Aerith, as it represents a very important strategic objective. We have the other objective towards the outskirts of the city, and we have the final objective in the mountains towards the north. For the dwarves, they set up pretty heavily towards the 2 objectives, hoping to control the city of Aerith and protect themselves using the terrain. For the Shyft, they also set up towards the city with their Tribo towards the north and the Elven Reavers and Elven Thralls and Depth Horrors heading towards the center of the city. That's just another picture while they're using a Tribo mounted on the hill to get a good firing range. The Shyft also protect the center objective with Elven Reavers with the War Turtle and Tribo, using the range firepower to keep the dwarves off of the center objective. And finally, they have their heavy cavalry and Depth Horrors running towards the north to try to claim and contest the mountain objective. For the dwarves, the Amazons, along with the Bear Cavalry and Steam Suits, are all in the forest, ready to contest the northern objective. Along with that, they are protecting the Black Powder Boomers, who will be providing fire support. A large contingent of their Dwarf Warriors and Hammerers, along with some Steam Power Suits of the Dwarven Lord, will be running towards the city of Aerith. They have the Marksmen as well backing them. Towards the far right, they have the smaller company of Golems, who will just be protecting the far right objective, and a final Dwarf Warrior unit there to provide a lot of bodies and protection of the Marksmen to fight off a pretty large contingent for the center objective in the city of Aerith. Turn 1. The Dwarf Warriors go first and just begin to move up and contest and claim the center objective in the city of Aerith. The War Turtle moves up and gives stealth to itself and gives stealth to the deft horrors. It then takes its warboat and shoots 2 of the dwarves, killing 2 of them. The golems move up behind the wall and also get in range to claim the far right objective. The Shyft mage casts the +1 AP on the thralls and the horrors, and then the archers move up and shoot the dwarves, killing 2 of them. The other dwarf warrior squad moves up towards the objective in Aerith, further supporting it. The ballista shoots, but the dwarves miraculously roll 2 6s and don't take any damage. The third dwarf warrior squad moves up towards the center. The smaller depth horror squad moves up on the hill. The dwarven veterans with their great weapons move up behind the dwarfs. One of the elven thralls move up to the north of the city, in charge range of the dwarfs, but out of a range of 8, since the dwarves are much faster than the dwarves, they are going to get the first hit. The bearded veterans move through the forest to move in range of the northern objective, the objective towards the left in the mountains. The rifles move up and shoot at one of the elven thralls and kill one of them. The depth horrors also move up within range and begin to prepare to attack the city of Aerith. The mage moves up and fails to cast the +1 AP spell, but then shoots and does 3 wounds on the golems with their rend hits. The black powder booners move up and shoot at the horrors, removing the stealth that had been provided by the war turtle, and doing 3 wounds, killing one of them. The other elven thralls move up into the city to reinforce, preparing to do battle with the dwarfs next turn. The steam golems move up behind the dwarfs to further reinforce the city. The cavalry move up to the north, preparing to attack the bearded veterans. The axe knights move up towards the center, rather looking to support either the troops in the city or the troops outside of the city. Finally, the second unit of steam golems moves up in the forests. Lastly, the bear cavalry moves up to support the veterans. And then the Amazons move up behind the bear cavalry to be protected. At the end of the battle, we see the armies in the first turn move up and begin to move up closer towards the center objectives, while light firepower on both sides has done some damage to each. In the city, we see the dwarves initially gain control of the city of Aerith, while the elves and the mage spawn and Shyft allies move up, ready to begin the first attack. In an overview of the battlefield, both of the armies are just moving closer to each other and preparing for the second turn attack. On turn 2, the Shyft finish first, therefore they will go first. And the first thing they do is the war turtle moves up again and adds stealth back to the horrors and back to the reavers, and then shoots his deadly harpoon into the steam golems. He hits and killing one of the steam golems. The boomers move up and shoot at the cav, getting some key rends and killing one of them. The Shyft wizard moves up and gets +1 AP on the reavers, and then the reavers shoot at the dwarves, killing 4 more, but the dwarven warriors are stout enough to pass them around. The veterans move up to block the cav. The ballista shoots at the veterans, killing 2 of them. That's the tribo on the top. The warbear riders move up behind the veterans. The mage moves up towards the flank. He casts a spell, causing 2 wounds on the golems, the sentry golems, and then the archers shoot and they kill another of the sentry golems, which causes them to fail their morale. So the sentry golems are wavered. The remaining warriors move up to protect the veterans behind them, knowing that they probably aren't going to survive much longer. The Depth Horrors charge and kill 4 of the veterans. The veterans return a few more wounds, but are able to pass them around. The Dwarven Fusers move up and shoot at the Thralls, and roll very good, killing 7 of them, and wavering the Elven Thralls. The Tribroil on the hill fires at the Steam Golems, but the armor protects them and does no damage. The Bearded Veterans move up behind the Dwarven Warriors. The Elven Thralls unwaver, and the Golem also unwavers. The Depth Horrors charge the 4 remaining Dwarf Warriors, finishing them off, but the Dwarven Warriors died for a good cause and protected the veterans. The Elven Thralls move back. The Axe Knights move up behind the Bearded Veterans, ready to reinforce them. And finally, the vicious mounted cavalry of the Mage Spawn with the leader charges forward, attacking both the Bearded Veterans and the Warbear Riders. They kill the veterans and they finish off the Warbear, but finish one Warbear with a single wound. And he survives his morale check while also doing a wound back. The Amazons, led by Theoline, charge, killing most of the cavalry, and the leader fails his morale and is killed as he tries to flee. Theoline's Amazon Blade Mistresses consolidate forward and gain control of the objective. The Steam Golems move up. The Dwarf Warriors move up to contest the far right objective, seeing that the Sentry Golem is probably going to die. Finally, the last Dwarf Warrior squad moves up in preparing to get attacked from the Depth Horrors and the Elven Thralls. Finally, the wounded Steam Golems with the Dwarven Lord Wraith Golem moves up. On the third turn, the remaining Depth Horrors charge the Blade Mistresses. They kill 2 Amazons, but they also finish off the remaining Depth Horrors and consolidate closer. Theoline is doing a lot of work to clean up the far left side. The Bearded Veterans charge the Elf Thralls, slaying 8 of them, but the Elf Thralls remain, while also not doing much damage back to the Bearded Veterans. The remaining Thralls charge the Dwarf Warriors, killing 4 of them, and the Dwarf Warriors kill 2 of the Thralls themselves but lose combat, and the Dwarf Warriors are routed, so the single Elven Thrall killing the rest of them. The Marksmen move up and shoot the Reavers, killing 3 of them. The Tribroil on the hill shoots at the Amazons, killing several more. The Steam Golems move up. The Turtle charges the fatigued Amazons, with Theoline protecting them, killing more, but they also hold. The Boomers move up, doing 3 wounds to the War Turtle. The Shyft move up and fail to cast the spell, but arrows do 2 wounds to the Sentry Golem, but he does hold with a single wound left. The Warbear charges the War Turtle, doing 3 wounds and routing the wounded War Turtle. The horrors charge and revenge the war turtle by killing the remaining warbear rider. The fatigued Amazons charged and killed one while dodging the fatigued attacks themselves, but the wept horde does hold. The Reavers move up. The mage blasts a spell, killing 3 of the veterans, while the Reavers then take out their arrows and kill 3 more of the veterans. The veterans are down to 50% and they hold on their nerve. The Axe Knights move up. The Tribro shoots at the warriors, killing a few of them. And then the warriors then charge the remaining thrall, finishing him off. The Depth Horrors, seeing a chance to charge the Steam Golems, charge, and then the 2 monstrous units trade blows with losses on both sides. But both hold, with the leader managing to get some extra wounds onto the Depth Horrors. The Fatigue Steam Golems charge back, doing a couple of more wounds, but both hold again. The Lone Golem charges and miraculously kills 3 of the Reavers, but then dies as well. At the end of the 3rd turn, we see that the Dwarven's warriors, along with Theoline and her Amazons, have pushed off the Shyft from the northern objective, the left objective in the mountains, and they continue to push the center. They've also gained control of the objective inside of Aerith, while the Shyft, using their Reaver's maneuverability, have managed to grab the far right objective outside of Aerith. On the last turn, the Shyft, needing to try to take out the Steam Golems, charge again into the Dwarf Steam Golems. The Depth Horrors do some damage, but the armor and the might of Steam Golems is too much, and they finish off the Depth Horrors. They consolidate closer to the objective in Aerith. The Amazons charge the Reavers. Theoline continues to do a lot of work, killing many, but losing several themselves. The Reavers then return fire into Theoline and her 1 remaining Amazon, but also miss, protected by her spells. The Steam Golems charge and finish off the remaining horror, and then consolidate closer to the objective. The Shyft Mage releases a terrible spell, killing several of the warriors and the marksmen, the Dwarven Fusers. Both fail their waver as the Reavers also shoot into them. The Dwarven veterans charge the Reavers, killing several, but the Shyft Mage manages to hold. The battle looks lost as the Axe Knights move up to contest the objective. The Shyft, seeing their losses, choose to flee with their mages. The Black Powder Rebels hold 2 objectives and contest 1, with the Steam Golems able to hold the final objective, and the Warriors and the Fusers are able to unwaver. The Shyft hold 1 objective, but seeing that they have lost, they go ahead and they flee. Theoline's detachment broke through and shattered the mage spawn lines. Although they had killed one of the Shyft leaders, 2 more retreated to gather reinforcements. A chorus of rabid howls and snarls echoed within the city before them. On borrowed time, she gathered her wounded and quickly fled to Stone Keep. Others must be warned of this new threat. Aerith has lost. Other cities must be protected. At the end of the game, it is a 2-1 victory to the Black Powder Rebels. 1 of the 3 Shyft leaders were killed. The Black Powder Rebels received 10 victory points. The Shyft will lose 10 victory points. Thanks for watching. You can always play against me on Universal Battles 2. Provide feedback. I'm always interested in feedback for the campaign. You can always like, subscribe, and comment to support the channel. And if you're in Austin, you can always join the Austin Alternative Gaming Freaks. Thank you very much.